Welcome back to the Rowdy Studio. I'm still Buzz Cutler. That's still Bass Masters. He's still fired up about the self-righteousness surrounding Kyle Busch getting parked. But I think there are a couple of tangents, a couple of sub-issues to discuss around all of this. First of all, everybody says, well, Ron Hornaday was running for a championship, so that makes it more egregious. First of all, do you agree with that? And second of all, do you think NASCAR took that into account?
Well, I think they did take it into account, and I think it does have an effect, but you have to remember, in this series, it's not a chase situation. It's a season-long situation, so each one of the races that they run has the same effect on the championship. Now, the fact that it's down towards the end, and we know that Hornaday is in the mix for a championship, does change things a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, if Kyle Busch had done it in the first race of the year, it would have the same effect on Hornaday's points.
Well, I also think it sets up a dangerous precedent of, hey,
we're going to protect him because he's in the running for the championship.
We got to run differently around the guys who are running for a championship. You know what? No, Kyle Busch is going for the win, just like Ron Hornaday, just like Austin Dillon was going for the win.
It almost seems to me that the fact that you've got a guy who comes in races part-time in the series and a full-time driver, a guy who basically, think about it, earns no points in the series, earns no driver points in the truck series. That, to me, is almost more like, well, there's no price I'm going to pay in the points. So it's inequitable in the sense that I can take a bite out of you because you're running for points in the series, and it's going to hurt. If you were to do the same thing back to me to protect yourself, well, it really doesn't cost me any points.
I almost wonder if NASCAR took the action they did because they were afraid of escalation over the course of the weekend. They were afraid that maybe Kevin Harvick in the Cup race, since Ron Hornaday wouldn't have an opportunity to exact revenge, to exact retribution, that they were afraid that maybe Kevin Harvick, who owned Ron Hornaday's truck, might take it out on Kyle Busch.
And has had a season-long feud with Kyle Busch as well.
Right.
And the other thing about it is...
And is also out of the championship hunt, so, well... Not to the extent that Kyle Busch is, but realistically, Kevin Harvick's probably not going to vie for the championship, so maybe nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Well, I think the other thing is this. You have to realize that despite the idea that we're going to give responsibility back to the drivers, as Mike Helton has stated, that you can't step out of it completely.
Could it be that NASCAR is seeing this get a little out of hand and they've decided, yes, we going to
put the brakes on.
We're going to nip this in the butt?
I think that certainly that's a part of it. We can't let these guys – I mean, they just got done. I don't know how they felt about Martinsville. But it's not like you can't get hurt at Martinsville just because you're going more slowly.
We talk about the cumulative effect of Kyle Busch's actions, but there's
also
a cumulative effect of all this on-track revenge. And you got to think back to what Tony Stewart said is, why are we using our race cars
Yes, I agree.
to get revenge? Why don't we just go out behind the haulers where it's probably safer? The most you're going to get is a busted nose.
Right.
And get revenge that way.
And, of course, that's not going to happen. And I think that's where we are right now with this guys policing themselves situation is it's a pretty tough balancing act. I'm not saying NASCAR has an easy job with this thing. I don't think they do. I mean, it had gotten to the point, at least in the old days, you go, well, I just kind of got loose and got up into him there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Right? Yeah, I took him out on purpose, but I'm not going to admit it. Now it's at the point where we've been going through this boys have had it for a year and a half, which, by the way, that was just about bump drafting at Talladega. Somehow that phrase has become appropriated for this whole method of behavior. Now it's like we don't hesitate to admit, yeah, I took him out. We don't even pretend anymore.
The other thing that I think is interesting in the aftermath of all this is the Kyle Busch apology letter, and I'm wondering how much Joe Gibbs and Joe Gibbs Racing thought to appease M&M's Mars by having Kyle Busch contrite. M&M's is reportedly pissed. They've been pissed at Kyle in the past. They're just even more pissed now. And Joe Gibbs has the responsibility for managing and massaging that relationship. I personally wouldn't be shocked to see Kyle Busch run in the Home Depot livery next year and Joey Logano in the M&M's car. You think that's just wild?
M&M's is doing the same thing that Kyle's doing, which is this is a public relations fiasco for him. It's bad publicity, okay? It's bad publicity. The only thing he can do is not try to explain his position or say, I was confused, I thought. He can't do any of that. That's not smart PR. The smart PR thing is to make as big an apology as you can, and that's what he did. This isn't the first time, even within the last week, that some guy wrecked another guy on purpose. It just so happens that in Kyle's case, you want him to issue a, gee, I'm the worst guy in the world, I'll do better, apology.
No, M&M's wanted him to issue that.
Everybody did, and he did it, okay? And I'm not even saying it's not sincere. If you don't like Kyle Busch because you don't like his attitude, you don't like his driving style, and you just don't like him, this isn't going to make you like him any better.
The reason I brought up the speeding penalty is specifically how much is M&M's Mars going to take before they say, no more, man. No mas.
Yeah, he's used up all that goodwill bank.
He might have already used it up, and this might have. All I'm saying is this might have been the straw. Last question: Is Michael McDowell really the best they could do?
This is what I like.
Come
I understand
on,
you, man.
Come on.
You use this as an excuse to take a shot at another guy.
Come on. Put Mike Wallace in the car. Do something.
Maybe Mike Wallace wasn't there.
Michael McDowell.
Come on. First of all, what a fool believes. I mean, you could name any number of great Doobie songs. So stop.
But that's the best Doobie song you could come up with?
Probably not. But I know because didn't he come to the Doobies later? Michael McDowell?
Yes, he was not an original Doobie.
Right. So I didn't want to get confused by going too old school. Okay. I know he sang What a Fool Believes.
Okay.
That I know.
So because of that, you think Michael McDowell was the right choice?
Dude, I'm not going to take a shot. I'm not going to use this as an excuse to take a shot at Michael McDowell.
I want Joe Gibbs to issue a letter of apology for putting Michael McDowell in the 18 car at Texas. That's Bassmasters. I'm Buzz Cutler. We'll be back with another video later. Michael McDowell.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.